Welcome back to Comics with Drew. It's Drew, and I'm doing a Perch style video. Yes, I'm recording in the car. Yeah, I'm super excited. Let me tell you what. No, but seriously, I wanted to do a Perch kind of video because I was just listening to Perch, and he was talking about the fact that he likes to do these videos, and he's actually, it was not the video that I was just listening to, which is why manga is successful. It was the video before that where he was talking about being in Texas and his air conditioning is gonna need to be used going forward. But I decided that, I was listening to this manga, why manga is successful thing, and I wanted to do a kind of a comment on that video. And I wanted to do it in Perch's famous methodology of recording in the car. Let's proceed forthwith. He said, it's not that manga is successful because manga is not woke. In fact, manga is incredibly woke in the products that it produces and the stories that it produces in Japan, just not in the US. And he says the reason why manga is actually successful is not the fact that it's not woke, but that it's appealing to general audiences. And he goes into this whole business philosophy of trying to get the most customers to buy your product. And then the reason why this is fine is because the underserved markets that are niche markets will go seek out the content. Excellent point. But it's kind of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. So I know a lot of people will talk about the fact that, manga is successful because of the fact that it stays away from woke stuff and everything. And they think that that's really what it is. And you can look at it that way and you can decide that, well, this is the reason why, and then set your hitch your wagon to that star and then ride off into the sunset and think that you're right. But Perch is actually saying something that is, I think, in a way more true because it's really about business. It's not one of the reasons why I think Western comics aren't as successful about things is because of the fact that they are trying to essentially virtue signal, right? They're not really that concerned with being successful business-wise because, to be perfectly honest with you, these Western companies have been successful building comics for the last 50, 60, 70 years, and they think that their success is not impacted by other things. They think that what they need to do is they've made all their money with all this other stuff and they're very successful, but they have not done the socially moral important thing and made content specifically for this their perceived underserved niche market. And what they need to do is they need to be part of some kind of social movement to bring attention to the plight of these people. And the fact of the matter is that they are not doing business. They are trying to score virtue signaling points. Because, like Perch says, if every June it's LGBTQ Christmas at these companies, and the rest of the 11 months out of the year it's quote-unquote business as usual, then they're not doing anybody any favors. They're not doing the LGBTQ community and market favors, and they're certainly not doing the general normie audience market any favors. All they're doing is making people happy on social media. They're getting the pats on the back and like, see, these guys are on our side. And the fact of the matter is that they're not really on your side, right? They're not at all. And it's what they're trying to do is they're trying to get attention to show how great they are and how wonderful they are to work with and how they agree with all the powerful people in entertainment. And that's why they're doing this. And getting back to manga, which, the reason I'm even talking about this is because of the fact that I got into manga because Perch was talking about how great manga was. The fact of the matter is that manga is just being smart about, stuff that appeals to the general audience. And he talks about My Hero Academia, which again is the first manga that I personally read. And he's right. It's a total westernized kind of concept that is easily accessible to everybody. And there is no politics in it. And there's no social justice warrioring in it. And there's no, owning the cons or owning the libs. It's just a straight story. And the fact of the matter is that this is important because you want to be able to be successful. And what Manga was trying to do was simply be successful in a new market. And just like any market, it's kind of like this. When you go on a date, right? You go on a date with this really hot person that you've really been wanting to see, and it's great. You know what you don't do? You don't act on familiar terms. You don't do things that you would do around your family, right? For the most part. So when you go on these dates, you don't really lean directly into politics, right? You don't lean directly into, ranting about stuff. And if you do, that you are typically going to either get shut down fast and that person's never going to want to talk with you again, or you might get lucky and find someone that thinks exactly the way you do. But if you're not looking for someone who thinks exactly the way you do, and you're going into a neutral area, right, then you're going to wind up trying to, read the room. Try to understand where this other person is coming from, what they're interested in. And that's essentially the same thing with business. It's really how to win friends and influence people, and you do that by trying to be friendly to people. You don't lead with all of the deep, dark secrets that you have, right? You don't lead with the fact that you like to put your shoes on your couch. You don't lead with that stuff. They'll find out later enough. If they like you enough, they'll eventually know what you shouldn't be eating because of how you smell afterwards, or they'll know whether or not you are good at cleaning things up when they need to be cleaned up or not. So just to bring it all back to the original point of what I'm trying to say, Perch is right, but I think that he could probably put a better point on that, in the fact that it's not that manga is successful because it's not woke. It's successful because it's following proper business practices. Ultimately, the people that complain about the wokeness, they want good business practices for the things that they enjoy, right? That's what they really want. They want Superman and Spider-Man to be successful, and they want to get more Superman and Spider-Man content and Batman content and every other different character content. They want more of that, and they know that the more that these characters are focused on niche things, the less chance that those characters are going to be successful. And to prove my point, we've had these characters that people say, oh, look at this character. This character is the hero for this particular narrow segment of people, right? And that comic winds up getting canceled. That title winds up getting canceled and rebooted and tried again because the people that are running these companies want to bash their heads against the wall. They're more concerned with getting social media points and pats on the back than they are with running a successful business. And ultimately, the business suffers. And if it's a publicly traded business, like DC is, and like Marvel is, ultimately, if it loses enough money, these people will lose their jobs. And it's a self-correcting problem. I know it sucks. I know it sucks for those who care about this stuff. And it sucks for those people who are on social media and they see creators and business people, totally like spiking the ball in their face. See what we did? And you guys are a bunch of bigots. And you guys have toxic masculinity. And you people don't care about the plight of people who are bullied. And it sucks to hear that stuff because it's not true. It's a straw man argument. The fact of the matter is that you really just want Superman and Batman and Spider-Man to be successful. That's really all it is. And the fact is that wokeness, or let me rephrase that, to turn it around on Perch, appealing to a niche market at the expense of the general market is the entire problem with Western comics. And really, it's the entire problem with any business. And so manga is simply just not doing that. And because manga is not doing that, manga is successful. So if you want to sit there and say, well, it's because it's not woke, of course you could say that. You could legitimately say that. But you're missing why that works. You're missing why that actually is a valid point. In summary, Perch is absolutely 100% correct. Manga has been successful because they come into the country and they've built great business practices to appeal to the widest market, and they know that if you're a niche group, if you're the dude that likes to be perfectly honest with you, check this out, right? I'll even apply it to independent comics. If you like cybernetic robot frogs, right? And DC doesn't give you a cybernetic robot frog, but there's a dude on YouTube who has a channel that draws a cybernetic robot frog. You will seek out that cybernetic robot frog and you will buy the living hell out of every one of his products. And that's the way it works. That's the way everything works. So you've got a boutique business catering to a specific clientele. Whether or not you like them or not is entirely, totally beside the point. That clientele is going to come to you. You build it, they will come. And what you want to do is, the reality is that niche markets don't make successful corporations. Those corporations that are publicly traded, they need to make as much money as possible. That's just capitalism. So that's my point. And this has been my Comics by Perch Style Comics with Drew video. Thanks for watching. This is Comics with Drew. I'm Drew, and I'll catch you next time.